I don't think this is particularly related to your expertise, Dr. Rich, but this was a call I think is a continuation of last week, I believe, and I want to continue this conversation. This is Daniel calling in from Canada. Daniel, you're live on Truth Wanted, and the call
Hey, Dan.
screener has wrote that you weren't kidnapped by aliens last week or NASA, which is great. I'm glad that
Right.
you weren't kidnapped. So thanks for that.
Yes. Yeah, I
Cool.
thought you might be worried about that. So, no, it's this phone app I'm using.
Right. You last week we were having a conversation, just for context for folks, and you were telling me that there were insectoids on Mars with tools, and then like right after you told me that, the phone line cut off, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? What's going on? You gave me the sauce, Daniel. Like that was the special sauce. And like you should have led
Right.
with that, honestly. You should have just
Right.
came into the call with that. But okay, now that we're having this conversation again, tell me about the insectoids on Mars.
Okay.
Where are they at though? And like how do you like tell me how you came to this conclusion, because I'm very curious.
Well, I in the comments section from last week's show, I left a link to a video of where I discovered this from.
Oh, I didn't see
it's from
that.
a guy who does these anomalies. Yeah, I left a link. And it's from the NASA. NASA has a site called the Billion Pixel Picture of Mars, and you can kind of interact with it. You can move the camera around. Have you ever heard of this?
Yes, I have. I have seen that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the interesting thing is that there's a link to it in that clip, but the thing is you can't move around anymore on it. You can't do that anymore. You can't see these things that you'll see in that video that the guy made. And actually another guy has kept it on another, someone else made a copy of it. But on NASA's site, you can't move around anymore on that video. That's quite a quinky dink, eh?
Well, no, because like maybe it just doesn't. Wait, I don't even know what the camera's even based on. If it's like the Mars rover, then like yeah, that thing isn't even working anymore. But like websites stop functionality all the time. I don't know. Why is that? What does that have to do with insectoids?
Okay.
Like,
well, but the area where you could see them, you can't move it around to it anymore. But I'm just saying.
Oh, the area where the insectoid. Okay, I missed that part.
Yeah.
So okay, there was an area where you could see insectoids through this tool.
Yeah.
And you're saying that
there's a couple you can see. Yep.
Interesting. So you think it's a cover up by NASA because we found evidence of the insectoids through these tools, and they just put it off the website?
No, it's much bigger than that. I mean, I'm just saying that's part of it. I think the overall is what I said last week, that they can't tell us because it'll affect our society too much.
Which is interesting because
why it will.
No, see, Rich,
pardon?
Like John said the same thing, Rich, last week, and I disagree with both you guys. I agree. If NASA knew that aliens were real, they'd have to keep that shit secret, at least for a bit. Like that's a national security thing. I 100% actually agree with the caller on that. If with the premise, right, that they knew about it. So I don't know. I haven't seen the tools used. But, go ahead.
It goes back to Roswell.
Yeah.
They've always covered this up.
It's true.
They knew right from the start they had to cover this up.
Well, okay. I agree again, but I agree for different reasons than you. Roswell was a cover-up, but Roswell was not a cover-up because of aliens. Roswell was a cover-up because they had spy planes that they eventually used, in Russia during the Cold War and stuff.
Yeah,
like that's what's been going on there. But like,
no, I think
the government will lie about things to protect national security interests. Like I don't think that's too bold of a claim. The insectoids thing though, that's a different ball game. We're playing a different sport. I don't know, Rich, you seem like you have something that you got to say.
Well, The insectoids thing, a few questions spring to my mind. Firstly, have you yourself personally seen the NASA site before it stopped moving, or have you just seen somebody's video of
Yeah.
the NASA site
No, no,
supposedly before it stopped moving? Secondly, why would
no, no.
NASA put it up in the first place if there are insectoids on it? Because you'd think someone had noticed and not
Yeah,
put it up at
if they
all.
already knew
There's
about it.
lots of questions going around my head that just don't make much sense at the moment. If I were to go
Well,
there now, would I be able to scan around in it? Do you think I can't because it'll destroy my bandwidth because it's a billion pixels? But is it still like that? Is it possibly the person couldn't scan around in it because it's like a billion pixels? I don't know. It's
can I
yeah.
just
Is
suggest
it
that you would?
shadows? Is it rocks? Is it weird? Is it pareidolia, which is when you see things that seem to be humanoid or human face-like or insectoid, I guess. Things, patterns. Your brain works by matching patterns. If you were to simplify the brain, it is a pattern matching machine. So you see a shadow, your brain goes, "Oh, that looks like an insect." You go, "It's an insect." Is that what's going on here? Because I kind of think that's
I
more
don't think so.
likely than insects. So,
No, no, it's more than that. I mean, there's more things you can see. That's why that picture's all orangey and that pink orange color everywhere. That's bullshit. They're just trying to cover. They're just trying to make everything blend together. The answer to your questions, I don't know everything. Yes, you could move around before, but now you can't. And I suggest you look out at the video that I left the link to. I could leave it again in the comments in this show today.
I'm trying to look this up. I'm trying to find an article on this. Like, okay,
I'm
you said it's
I'm
bullshit.
looking at
You said it.
Well,
The
I have a guy.
NASA. But how do you know this? Like, how do you know NASA
yeah.
is? I mean, like, because like I think it's okay. Like, sorry. Let me back this up a bit, Daniel, because
Yeah.
there have been footage of astronauts in space, other things that they do at space that are missing, right? Like from the record that aren't like publicly available. Like that's definitely true, right? There's parts of the moon
Mhm.
launch and stuff and moon landing like, we don't have. Okay. Um, the
Yeah.
reasoning though can always be different than what you think. Like again, I think it usually boils down to interests of like national security and national defense reasons. They may have technology in there or terminology in there, or they're talking about satellites that other countries don't know that we have in other countries and stuff. Like, there
Yeah.
are legitimate national defense reasons why NASA may not show
For sure.
off some kinds of things, right? But
But
what you're talking about is just a panoramic view of Mars and ostensibly where insectoid people are on. I don't know. I haven't seen it myself, but like
no,
that seems
just a couple.
weird that NASA would know about it, as Rich point out, and still show that anyway. Like, why would that even be available to the public as a tool? It's just weird.
But because there's so many hoaxes. There's so many scandals and conspiracy theories. Everything just gets a wash. Nobody cares anymore. I've shown it to people. Nobody cares. They know, and they make everything, like you say, kind of look the same. But another thing, NASA has been involved in some lying before in their history, and it's a fact. Conspiracy. It's called the paperclip conspiracy that occurred in the late 40s and the 1950s. Where they
You're talking
covered
about
up the fact that
Operation
they were using
Paperclip.
Nazi.
Yes.
NASA covered up the fact they were using Nazi scientists in the Apollo in the rocket program. That's
Yes. Yes. I don't know. Well,
Mhm.
I don't know actually the specifics of NASA being involved with it, but like I know for the Defense Department, right? Operation Paperclip
NASA's
was
part of the Defense Department.
well. I
NASA's
mean,
part of
but
the Defense Department.
well, they did it for rockets and stuff. I don't know how. I actually don't know how much it involved with space travel. But like, yes, again, I agree with you on the premise, Daniel, that like the government does cover shit up. Like, yeah, we definitely like. Well, we didn't kidnap them, but like we basically said, look, you can either live a life in prison or get executed, or you can come work for the American government to do research. And we did that for tons of Nazis. And like, that's a historical fact. Again, I'm with you there, but
Yeah.
that's within the realm of
And they
like
covered it
things
up.
that, yeah, they did. But that's also within the realm of things that can possibly happen. You understand? Like people can make
Yeah.
arrangements and people can cover things up and people can do things. I don't even know if insectoids could live on Mars. Everything I know about Mars makes that
Well, go look at that video.
untenable to my worldview. You know what I mean? Like I can't even fathom the premise of a life form that advanced, let alone having tools, you know, existing on Mars somehow has been a whole thing this whole time. And we're just now figuring out because NASA accidentally leaked pictures of it. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Well,
there has to be more.
there are studies. There are studies that show. I think you can look it up. That they found water inside Martian soil or inside
Yes.
Martian rocks or something like that. They found
frozen water
and what these,
at the caps.
and what these,
But
and what
they don't
these
have an atmosphere
insectoids
though,
seem to be
Daniel.
doing-
Well, there's an atmosphere, but it's too thin. It's too thin to support life currently. There's it's not the same as it is on Earth.
I'm not sure about that.
You're not sure?
Yeah,
You don't
well,
agree with the chemical composition of Mars?
No.
You don't. You think that what NASA has told us about Mars is not true? Like it actually can support life?
I thought there's disputable plants and stuff being already. I thought they've admitted to some vegetation on Mars, and they've admitted to
Vegetation?
water on Mars.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
No,
Well, I think it's a picture show it.
I've seen you ever seen the movie The Martian? Anyway, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, used to believe quite a while ago, not that long ago though, actually, about a century ago, when we didn't have good images of Mars, they used to believe that there were forests on Mars. There were patches of Mars that might have been vegetation, and they also believed that there were intelligently made canals. Thing is, when we got better images, we realized they were honking great craters and things, and they weren't canals at all. They were just naturally formed cracks when you get closer up. So I don't know if that's where you're getting your vegetation from, but that's a very old idea. In fact, it's even recent than that. I remember there's a show in Britain called The Sky at Night that's been running since the 50s. And an early episode, the presenter said, there are these areas on Mars like this. They may be vegetation. We don't know. I remember, I'm not that old, but I remember seeing a rerun of that and going, oh, that's interesting. Even in the 50s, they weren't entirely sure. So is that where you're getting your vegetation from? Because we know that's not the case now.
No, you'd have to go to the other sites that I talked about, other anomaly sites where people discovered this. I just think that I don't know. I just think they don't want us to know.
I mean, look. I'll tell you this, right? Any website you go to on this, they have done zero discovery work. They're using imaging tools produced either by NASA or other space agencies and making extrapolations based on that. So I don't even think they get to call it a discovery. I think you can call it an interpretation of data, perhaps. But none of these people are going to Mars themselves and figuring this out.
They always give a link to the NASA photos that they're using. And all they're doing is just like taking a TV, like an old black and white TV, where you change the contrast or the brightness, and you can focus more what's on the ground and what's the detail on the surface. They're not adding anything. They're not adding anything.
Daniel, that is adding something. Photo manipulation is adding something.
It's taking away.
Yes, it is.
It's taking away the obfuscation. It's taking.
No. It's not taking anything. When you use No. Unless they have the PSD file for Photoshop and they can take away a layer, they're not taking things away. When you manipulate an image, you are adding to it. I mean, you can use particular filters that can give you interesting effects, but anybody who's taken but like that is photo manipulation. That's editing the data that's already there. You're not revealing things through that. Like that's not how those tools work.
Of course, they're manipulating the pictures, but they're not adding anything. They're just taking away. I insist. You go look for yourself.
That's not what.
You know what?
Maybe you can. I missed your links. I'm gonna have to check out your links, Daniel. But we got a bunch of people that want to talk to us today. I got to move on. But I'm gonna leave you with this, okay? Look, ask anybody who's ever worked in Photoshop. Like actually, people who work in professional design, if you take an image
I
and you
know.
mess with the contrast, or if you mess with the gamma of an image, if that's taking away something or adding something, they'll all say it's adding because you are changing the source data given to do something else with it. It's not the same. But anyway, I gotta let you go right now, Daniel. We got a bunch of people we gotta talk
Thanks,
to.
guys.
So thank you for calling in. Rich, what do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say that I suspect, in fact, I'm pretty certain, you take a photo of any landscape anywhere on Earth and start messing about with the filters, and you can find insectoids in that picture. Doesn't matter
I
if it's a
agree.
field or a city,
And
you know.
look, I'm trying to look up these pictures. I haven't gone to the links he sent, but I'm just trying to find the first things about the Mars bug stuff. And it's just pictures of the environment. It's just rocks, dude. It's just
Yeah,
rocks. It's rocks
it's
and other
rocks.
stuff. I
Some
mean,
that are slightly darker.
yeah, like it is interesting that like in flat Earth folks will do this too. Um, not saying Daniel's a flat earther or
Yeah.
anything like that, but like they will take data given from NASA and make interpretations based off of that data given, which is like, do you trust this source or do you not trust this source? I don't understand.